A private may have to salute a lieutenant, but in combat, everyone listens to the sergeant. Imagine leading 200 soldiers into battle, commanding tanks, drones, and logistics, and still having to salute someone fresh out of college. Today, we're diving into the US Army's rank structure, the ladder of power that controls who commands, who follows, and who really calls the shots. And trust me, it's not as straightforward as it looks. We'll uncover the secrets behind rank, reveal the oddities in who actually holds authority, and show you how rank can be earned, given, and sometimes even ignored. Welcome back to the war. Let's start where every soldier begins, at the bottom. At E1, you're a private. No insignia, no authority. Just a fresh recruit, likely still figuring out how to wear the uniform properly. One step up, at E2, you're a private second class. Still green, but starting to get your bearings. Now, here's where things start to shift. At E3, you become a private first class, or PFC. At this point, you're expected to follow orders a little faster, mess up a little less, and carry a little bit more responsibility. At E4, it gets complicated. You can either be a specialist or a corporal. Same pay, different roles. A specialist is focused on technical tasks, radios, vehicles, computers. But a corporal is a junior NCO, which means they're starting to lead others. Two soldiers, same rank on paper, but only one's giving orders. Then comes the real NCOs, the non-commissioned officers. At E5, you become a sergeant. This is the first real leadership position. You're now responsible for the actions of others, usually a fire team of up to 10 soldiers. You make sure they shoot straight, march right, and don't do anything stupid. At E6, you're promoted to staff sergeant. That means you're now in charge of an entire squad, up to 10 soldiers. You also start mentoring new sergeants. You're not just a leader, you're a trainer. Have you ever heard the phrase, the NCO Corps is the backbone of the army? By the time you hit E7, you'll understand why. At E7, you become a sergeant first class. Now, you're managing platoon level operations. You may not be the highest rank in the unit, but you're the one junior officers lean on when things get messy in the field. And then there's the E8. This is where you step into the senior NCO realm. Two possible titles, Master Sergeant and First Sergeant. A Master Sergeant is a technical expert who oversees logistics, operations and training. A First Sergeant, meanwhile, is a company level leader, overseeing up to 200 soldiers. The top, as they're known, controls everything from discipline to morale. But what happens when you reach the top of the enlisted chain? There's one more rank, and one person in the entire army can hold it at one time. We'll get to that soon. Before we move on to the officers, let's make this personal. If you served, what was your rank? If you haven't served, which rank do you respect the most and why? Drop it in the comments. This is where things start to shift, from doing to deciding. Commissioned officers start at Second Lieutenant 01. They're typically in charge of a platoon, about 16 to 44 soldiers. They might outrank all the NCOs on paper, but in practice, they're often relying heavily on their sergeant first classes, just to survive that first year. Then comes the first lieutenant, O2, and captain, O3. Captains command companies, which means they're responsible for up to 200 soldiers. They're seasoned, trusted, and expected to make decisions that directly affect battlefield success. From there, we go to Major, an O4, who acts as an executive officer or staff planner. They're not on the front lines as much, but their work often decides what happens there. Next is Lieutenant Colonel, an O5, and Colonel, O6, are battalion and brigade commanders, respectively. They're strategic, operational leaders responsible for everything from morale to mission outcomes. But here's the thing, a colonel may outrank a sergeant on paper, but if that sergeant has 3 combat tours and the colonel has just left a Pentagon, let's just say the salute might be sharp, but the respect not always there. Remember the top of the enlisted chain we mentioned earlier? That's the Sergeant Major. But there's also the Sergeant Major of the Army, a unique E9 rank held just by one person. They report directly to the Army Chief of Staff and represent the voice of every enlisted soldier in the entire US Army. Now, let's talk stars. At the general level, ranks go from Brigadier General, O7, all the way to General, O10. Each rank brings more responsibility and less sleep. A Brigadier General commands thousands. A Major General commands divisions. Think 10,000 to 15,000 troops. Lieutenant Generals command corps, and Generals, the 4-star kind, oversee entire theatres of war. But what if I told you there's a 5th level most people don't even know about? During World War II, the US introduced the 5-star rank of General of the Army. Only 5 men have ever held it: Marshall, MacArthur, Eisenhower, Arnold, and Bradley. But here's the thing, 5-star generals never retire. They serve for life, even after death, technically. But what about after death? One man was promoted posthumously into a rank no one else in history has held. Stick around, we'll reveal just in a minute. Just a quick breather to mention our membership and merch programs. Go check them out. Now, back to the action. Now here is a group most people overlook, but they're crucial. Warrant officers fall between enlisted and commissioned officers. They're highly specialised experts. Think helicopter pilots, cyber warfare specialists, or ordnance techs. The Army has 5 levels of warrant officer, from W01 to CW5. And here's what's wild. A warrant officer can fly a $20 million Apache and make life or death decisions, but may never command a platoon. Why does the Army trust them with so much power, but not leadership? It's because they serve a different purpose: mastery over management. Let's wrap this up with the rare, the obscure, and the slightly bizarre. During the Civil War, officers were often promoted to the rank of brevet general. It meant they got the title, but not the pay or command. Basically, a battlefield promotion with no budget. In World War II, Douglas MacArthur actually pushed to be called Generalissimo, a title reserved for heads of state level armies. The army said no. Apparently, even 5 stars have limits. But the strangest promotion came 200 years after the man died. In 1976, as part of America's bicentennial celebrations, George Washington was posthumously promoted to General of the Armies of the United States, a rank meant to ensure no one ever outranks him, not even the 5 stars. So yes, Washington now outranks every general in American history from beyond the grave. The US Army structure is more than just stars and stripes. It's a living system of responsibility, trust, and sometimes contradiction. From the E1, who was learning how to march, to the 4-star general shaping entire wars, each rank plays a role. But true leadership, that comes from action, not just insignia. And here's the truth. In the chaos of combat, the person others follow isn't always the highest rank. It's the one who steps up when it matters the most. If you enjoyed this breakdown, then you'll love our video on the US Army Rangers, where the standard rank structure gets thrown out of the window and performance becomes everything. Hi soldiers, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe and leave your thoughts in the comments, and check out our merch and membership programs. And don't forget to check back in again soon. That's an order.